light, our life, our faith.
The raw, the real, and the relatable.
This is Be the Light podcast with your host.
I'm Marissa.
And I'm Sierra.
All right. I wanted to say, I think it is, okay, so for as long as I can remember, they took Jesus out of schools. It was like this particular cancel culture. You can't really talk about religion. You don't want to offend anybody. You can't talk about it on TV. Can't do this, can't do that. But here recently, I've been seeing so more of it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember when the football player had the heart attack on the field and the guy on ESPN was praying on live television, and then somebody else made a tribute to God, that other football player.
Well, in the Super Bowl, both of the starting quarterbacks for each team were like outward Christians.
Right.
Yeah.
And so John Jones actually just fought over the past weekend and won in the first round, and the first person he attributed to was Jesus. And I feel like I just thought that was so cool, because I remember growing up and it was like we were headed towards this cancel culture of like, you can't really talk about it, can't do this, can't do that. And the people that are like really strong in their faith, I feel like they're not letting the media tell them like what they can and can't do, and they're attributing to who they believe in and stuff. And I just thought that was really cool, because you don't really see that often anymore.
Well, I think, just we've come to a point in our culture where I feel like it's either like make or break at this point. Like, people are so lost and just desperate for some kind of hope in humanity and whatever. Like, the new movie Jesus Revolution that came out, we went and saw last week, and it was it's basically a story about kind of like how the revivals and stuff were going on in like Kentucky and all the colleges recently. That same sort of situation happened in like the 70s with like a bunch of hippies and stuff, and so there was like a big revival in this church. Basically, like, the preacher's daughter met this hippie guy that was like, I love Jesus, man, you know. But he was like, I just think there's a generation out here searching for truth and all the wrong things, you know, because they were like tripping on acid and all this stuff, like trying to find like, you know, the creator of the universe and things like that. They were just all looking in the wrong places. And the thing was, is the church was like, no, you don't look like the right person to come in this building, so you can't come. And it's like, so this one particular church is what the story's about. They started letting the hippies in, and at first, like, some of like elders in the church kind of like shied away or whatever, or like left the church. They were like, we won't stand for this, you know. But it's like, that's the exact opposite of what Jesus would have done, right?
Right.
So I think it's so similar to what's happening now. Like I said, in one of the earlier episodes, like, church is fed up with the church. Like, it's no longer about like what denomination you are, what church you go to. Like, we're serving Jesus here. Yeah. And that's all that matters.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I wrote something down, and I was talking to my mom about this earlier, and I was talking about how I see differently now that I stay prayed up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and a lot of people think like, you know, staying prayed up, you have to like constantly, you know, dear Heavenly Father, this, you know, like, and it's not even like that. When I stay prayed up, I'm like constantly in conversation with the Lord. And like, by doing that, like, you know, telling them thank you for buying my groceries, like, thank you for waking me up, like, Lord, what should I do here, like, let me get home safely, you know, like, constantly being in that conversation with Him has opened up a way for me to see spiritually. And it's kind of weird. Yep. And it's kind of scary, but it's also really beautiful too, actually. Yeah. And I was telling my mom how, like, just over time, like, I didn't realize, like, the world I live in now and the things that I see now are just, they look all so different. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's crazy. And a lot of people, like... You sound like a crazy person. I know. I'm just kidding. No, to, like, people who don't, you know, that don't have the Holy Spirit, that sounds like crazy talk, but it's so true. Like, there is a curtain to the spiritual realm, and if once you are able, you have it, you can literally pull it back and see His hand in everything.
And that's why I keep saying, like, I don't believe in coincidences. Like, everything happens for a reason. And it's, yeah, I was actually thinking about this today, just driving around, how people say, you know, something told me to turn around, or I just got this feeling that, you know, somebody was in, or whatever. Like, who do you think told you that?
Right.
Or where do you think that came from?
Right.
I picked up this new book recently. Actually, I think I have it. From one of the local bookstores. It's called Why We Believe the Bible by George W. DeHoff. But it in one of the chapters talks about like the creation of the world, and it talks about how just as human beings, like there's a longing in us for, you know, and like when we're like talking to ourselves, like it's just there's my brain is not working today. A design to it that's so just like God is here and present and around us, and like He is the creator of the world. And once you get that, it opens up so much more, and it, like you've been preaching, like it makes you more unoffendable because you can see the good and evil fighting against each other all day, every day. You see it in other people, and that's why, you know, we gotta spread our light again
and stay prayed up. I feel like,
and it is like you said, it's a constant dialogue. Like,
it's not this formal.
From the second you wake up, you know, and it's not, you know, you right, oh, praise Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's like you get, and as you're walking to the coffee, and you're like, oh,
thank you,
Lord. Like when you're stretching, and you're like, oh, what a beautiful day. And then like as you're just, I don't know, like looking in the mirror sometimes, like just this, it's literally like
constant.
Just a dialogue constantly in your head.
It's just like talking to your friend, but it's just a constant conversation that you're having with yourself and the Lord. And so like, if I were to take a situation to Tan, I also take it to the Lord. Like if I'm trying to figure something out, you know, I'm like, Lord, how do I do this? How do you want me to handle this? And at first, at some point, I used to always like, kind of like, Lord, help me out, you know, like help me out. But now it's like, Lord, how do you want me to handle this? It's not like, help me out in this situation. It's like, how do you want me to handle this situation? Because I know it's always the best. Versus like, help me out. Because it's like, I'm asking him to help me out, but it's the only reason I need his help is because I want to be in control.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when you're constantly in that conversation with him and prayed up, per se, you know, like, you can just see differently. I don't know.
I mean, I know there's like times where I'm like furious, like just like shaking my head. I'm like, God, please calm me down. I'm like, oh. Like seriously, like even when like I'm mad or like feeling like, or even when I know, you know, like when you're being so like you get upset about something and then it just like spirals and then you forget why you're mad.
Yeah, and then you're just mad.
And then I'm like, God, what was that? Like, why do I do that? Like, I'm like even talking to him when I'm like not like I don't even understand what's going on in my brain. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is it's the relationship.
It is.
It's all about
and that's
the
what I
relationship.
feel like I didn't realize, and a lot of people don't realize, is like, it's finding that relationship between you and God. You know, like however that looks, and that, you know, just spiritually grounding yourself and building that relationship, so that way you can lean not on your own understanding. You know, because otherwise you're going to be constantly in this cycle of just turmoil.
Well, that was another person that I absolutely did not expect to be like, hey, I heard you have a podcast. And I was like, yeah, like, it's just like, yeah, someone else was telling me about it, and I've been thinking about checking it out. And I was like, well, you should, and when you do, like, let me know. And she was like, and then she just, like, started, like, just spilling the beans, you know? She was like, me and my husband have been, you know, struggling, and we've decided to, like, kind of try church, and then we did, and we found this one that we like, and we felt the conviction and stuff, and I was like, well, that's great. And, you know, we just had this great conversation about just how, you know, she also grew up Catholic, and I'm like, girl, I get it. And just had like, you know, some confusion. It's funny, like at least two people that have said something to me about the podcast. We're like, I grew up Catholic too.
Oh,
And so,
nice.
yeah.
You just never know just the little things you can relate to.
Yeah, and so it was just so, it truly blesses me when somebody else says something about the podcast or just wants to talk about, what they've got going on, because I think that's the key to all of this, is we're only going to get through it together,
Right. Yeah, it blows my mind when someone says, I listened to your podcast, or, I heard you have a podcast. And I'm like, you heard? Oh, yeah. Part of me is still like, my brother mentioned this the other day, and he's absolutely right, and I know I do this. But he told me I was self-sabotaging because I was, like, being super hard on myself about the last 2 episodes, and just in general about moving forward. And he's like, you just hush, you're self-sabotaging. And I'm like, I totally do that.
Well, let me do.
Like, I do.
When last Thursday, when that last episode dropped, I felt so anxious about that getting out there, because I didn't know, I didn't want
I did too.
Some of my family members to hear some of that stuff, and then somebody was like, no, that
was good.
You're so genuine, and that's what we need, and that it's truly it's awesome. Yeah. And that's just it. Let's let go of all the just BS. And just love each other
where we are.
Yeah, and that was another thing too, is I've been just thinking about I just want to say you don't have to have it all figured out to come to Jesus. You don't have, if you're struggling with pornography or alcohol or you smoke weed or you whatever. If you're gay, I don't care. You don't have to have that all sorted out to come to Jesus. Come to Jesus, and then He will sort it out for you. It is a work in progress your entire life.
It's a transformation, though.
And it truly is transforming. And you just continue to pray for whatever it is that you're battling with, that Jesus would settle your heart in that.
And I'm glad you said that, because well, for one, I said it's transforming, and I can look back and I can just look at, and this is not to go to say, I still drink alcohol here and there and stuff like that, but I look back on my life in the last couple of years and just how nothing drastically has changed. I've just slowly grown to the point where I don't really have the desire to go out and get trashed with my friends, you know what I'm saying? To go out and have drinks and have wholesome conversations, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I would have never thought, and back in the day when I was drinking a lot, I used to pray to get control over it, and I would kind of almost obsess over trying to get control over this and over that. I need to change this, I need to do that, God's calling me to do this, but I'm not there yet, and this, that, and the other, and I got so stressed out. And I just remember hearing it's a transformation. You do not have to come to me perfectly, just come to me, and every day it's a transformation, because I can honestly get caught up in the where I'm not at.
Well, and I had this thought today that just totally came, it was all God. It was when God said, or Jesus said, come to me as you are, He didn't mean come to me in the clothes that you're wearing or with the money in your pocket. He meant come with your struggles, come with your demons, come with all the heavy burdens that you have, that you can't control.
All of it.
And I just with the drinking and the last podcast, the sex before marriage, yeah, sure, there is pleasure in that in the moment, but as you get closer to Christ, it's a renewal in your heart. The desires are different.
The desires,
it changes.
Yeah.
Like you said, having drinks, having conversations is great. I'm sure Jesus had some of his best conversations over a glass of wine,
Right.
But it's what's motivating in your heart.
Right.
At that point, it's not
Don't stress over feeling like you can't come to Him yet because you're not where you feel like you need to be.
Right.
Because you're never gonna you're never gonna be where you need to be. In all honesty, it's always. It doesn't matter how deep you go. There's always more for you. So just start your journey and just trust that and understand. And I feel like a lot of people, this is where we get caught up, is understanding that there's daily grace and mercy, and we'll still hold ourselves to what we did last month or last year or who we were. No, this is who we are today. And yesterday. In all honesty, the only reality is this moment. Yesterday is gone, never coming back, and tomorrow's not even here yet. the only moments that we truly have and that's real is like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you make that decision, whatever it may be, to just progressively 1% move forward at each day, then within the year you're 365% better.
Well, and that at the end of the day, like all these worldly material things are that we, sex, drugs, money, whatever, they're all, great in the short term, but they're never gonna fulfill you. You're always gonna want more. Like, I'm gonna just throw my husband under the bus real quick. But like with his boat and his like computer, he's always like upgrading. And the second he upgrades, he's like, man, I should have done a little more research because I found out this and it does this, that, and that, and then it's like every time he buys something, he's mad.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's because you rush into it.
And he literally says like, I can't even enjoy it because it's $300. And I said, well, what the heck? Why are you buying it? Or if you are, just shut up and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I tell him like, you can't take it with you. It's just all these material things. They're satisfying for like this long, but in the long run, it's never going to be fulfilling. And that's what is so like just takes my like words away. Like I don't even know how to describe it. About just anytime there's something going on in my life that I'm struggling with, and I like just take a minute to just either read the Bible or pray or just go on a walk, listen to something like encouraging in the Word, how just the peace sets in, and it just doesn't matter. Yeah, it's always a no. Right. It's so crazy.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with one of these material things either, because he puts these desires on our hearts.
And everything, it says everything on this world is for your pleasure. You just can't turn it into an idol. Right. Mm-hmm. Which is so easy to do.
100%. Your job can be an idol. Mm-hmm. Like you can stress and have too much on your plate with that. It's just really what you idolize, like you said.
And this Jesus Revolution movie. It just, when you said that, it reminded me how, like, even this podcast, I obsess over, like, the numbers and that, and, like, I'm like, yeah, like, share, like, all these things, and, which we do need, because we're trying to, get as many people as we can touch with this, right? But that's not, like, at the end of the day, we cannot save everybody. It's not our job to save your soul, save other souls, like, it's our job to plant the seed. God brings the harvest, right? And that's, I wanted to say, in that Jesus Revolution movie, there's a scene, like once this church kind of gets a little, there's like a moment where it kind of gets a little out of control, and the pastor's like, man, like what did I do? And his wife is just like, don't think God can't work through your failures. And I was like, oh, yes ma'am. Like that, it's like he don't need us, he's still gonna do his thing.
That just kind of put me into this little point right there that I still have on this page that I haven't talked about, and I think it's the last one. And it says, we're blessed by God's blessings, but we're also blessed by God's battles. Both are a part of God's plans, and without both of them, we cannot reach our true destiny. So like, even though like we might have been blessed, let me rephrase that. Even though we might be going through a battle, there's still a blessing coming out of that. And like, we don't have to, I guess, put our joy and our hope and happiness into our blessings that we receive, even though like we're going through that battle, because we have to know that there's always going to be a blessing coming through the battle, because I feel like a lot of times we'll like, a blessing will come and, we'll say we're so blessed, we are, but then here comes the battle, and then it's like, we forget how blessed we truly are, So we just have to remember that blessings do come from battles as well.
And it's in the battles where your faith truly is the most important.
And I feel like that's where your faith truly grows. And it's a muscle. Like, I remember hearing somebody said, grow your faith muscle, and I feel like I can really feel it in there.
Well, it's like in The Chosen, there's that scene where he's talking to little James, I think it is, who kind of has like a bum leg, and he's kind of like, what you're doing is awesome, and you're helping all these people, but like, what about me? Like, I'm one of your like closest followers, and he just like looks at him and he's like, you see what I've been doing, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and you believe in it, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, imagine what your faith in me without the healing can do.
Right.
Like, it would be so easy for me to just heal you and you believe.
Right.
But it's that faith that, you know, even in, you know, God's not answering your prayer right away. It's that faith that's gonna bring other people's in. You know, it's that light. Like when everything looks bad on the outside, but you're still praising Jesus.
Right.
You're still finding the one little thing to be grateful for every day.
Just like Job.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Job, that speaks to me a lot, honestly. Because he got his kids, his wife, all of them,
everything
got taken away.
Mm-hmm.
His house, his land, like the whole nine. And the first thing he did was drop to his knees and praise the Lord, you know, and said, Lord giveth, Lord taketh away. And I feel like I didn't process that with death until like probably like 6 months ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, that's right. You know, he giveth and he taketh away. Like, it's his timing, and we just need to, you know, appreciate the people while they're here. And I feel like it goes to show like how short time really is.
Yeah, I was going to say back to what you were saying earlier about truly the only moments that do matter is right now. And you just have to make the most of all that. And like today, imagine, like I was kind of like hustling at the end of the today to just get everything done. And there was like this man just sitting to the side at one of my stops and was like trying to talk to me. And I was like, obviously like hustling. He just wanted to talk about like headphones. And I just kind of rushed him off. But then when I left, I was like, man, like I could have like been like a little bit more engaging with that man. But like, imagine if that was like his last moment.
Right. Right.
Like, I don't know, but yeah.
I feel like, so that's crazy that you say that. So being a vessel in public, especially at the grocery store, I am trying to, because I feel like at the grocery store, that's when like the Lord, you know,
everybody's in high strung at the grocery store.
Yeah. But I feel like the Lord, okay, so I listened to the sermon about how like we're constantly wanting to take care of our family first, take care of us first, but like the Lord wants us to take care of so-and-so first, and then we will be blessed and our family will be blessed and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of times when I go to the grocery store, I try to like be like, Lord, point somebody out to me. Like, do you need me to smile at them, talk to them, give them money, pay for their food, something? And I feel like I don't know if I just try to push it. Because like, and then after, I'm like, part of me's like, well, did you miss it?
Yeah.
If I didn't do it,
you
know? And so like, I feel like I'm kind of struggling with trying to like really hear my calling when I'm out in public to be that vessel, whether it's just simply like giving somebody $5 or just speaking to them nicely or just paying for their bread and milk or whatever it is, you know. Like, I just feel like I'm battling this battle, whether it's like, okay, is this really you telling me to do this? And then after, if I don't act on it, then it's like, did I miss it? You know? I don't know.
Well, I think it was Miss Suzanne who told me one time we were talking about the same thing, but like with people like on the street asking for money or whatever. And she said, always check your peace. Like, just if you feel it and like you lean into it, just like kind of lean into what you're feeling. If it feels right, then go for it. Like, what's it gonna hurt if you do it and it wasn't God, you know?
Right.
But
yeah.
But if you like go in and then you start.
But when it's new, I feel like it's kind of it doesn't really fully give you peace because it's something you know, you're not in your comfort zone.
And like, yeah, I know what you're saying about like, am I pushing it
like, am I just trying to do this just to try to like, you know?
Well, and I think don't put that much pressure on yourself.
I do.
Like, for me, it's in the most like just out of nowhere moments that I know it's God, you know. Like,
right.
It's when I made a link tree for us, and you know, that came to me. I was literally, what was it? I think I was like not even at work, just driving down the road to go get my nails done or something. Like, just looking at the road, like I wasn't even thinking, and it was like I hadn't seen a link tree or something.
It just
that
dropped
day.
into your brain.
It literally was like, make a link tree for a podcast, and I was like,
okay.
Like, but then I was like, I wonder like how much that costs, and all, you know, all these things, all these like hesitations, and then I went and it was like free and totally so easy to do. And I was like, cool, you know. Right. And so that's how I've always. It's always just like just out of nowhere.
And I feel like it's not an issue when I see somebody on the side of the road and I have a couple bucks. It's like when I don't really have, not when I don't really have the money. It's like when there's not somebody obviously begging, and it's like, Lord, you know, there's somebody in this store that needs me or needs you, and you want me to intercede to be that person. But then I just feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself.
So one time I paid for somebody's groceries in the grocery store, and it was Kroger, and I was just going. It was around Christmas time. I was dropping my dog off to get groomed, and I just like while that was happening, I went to go like pick up the groomer, like a little Christmas gift or something. It was like a candle and a gift card, and I think like total it was like $30 or something. And I was standing in line waiting, and there was a lady checking out, and she was like having issues like getting her card to swipe, and like the girl behind the counter grabbed a grocery bag and like put it over the bar and like tried to scan it, and it wasn't working. And then she, I don't know, had another card I think she tried to try, and then she was like, oh, I can't remember the PIN number, and I could sense like that she was like having like these struggles, and I was like, Lord, should I, step in? And it was after that she was like, oh, and I don't have my phone to call. So I was like, I can pay, I got it. And she was like, oh, no, like this is $200. And I was like, it's totally fine. Like, because I knew like that was confirmation right there. And sometimes, maybe it's just like asking for confirmation and things. I've learned to do that a lot, like recently, just if it's something and you're like, God, is that you?
Well, see, I've had this lady where she had like a roast and some potatoes. She was obviously doing roast, and that's all she had was the ingredients for roast.
Oh, and this lady, she was just tears afterwards, like gave me like 4 or 5 hugs, and was just, and she was like, what can I do? And then she just kept saying, God is so good. And I was like, just keep telling people that. That's all I need you to do.
So like, I guess my first time ever paying for somebody was a couple months ago. Tan and I was standing in line, and she had just roast stuff. And I felt the need to pay for it. I was like, can I pay for that? And she's like, no. I'm like, no, seriously, can I pay for that? She's like, well, can I at least give you a hug? And I was like, yeah. You know, she's like, oh my gosh, God bless you. You're so nice. She had tears in her eyes. And I guess maybe that feeling like made me want to do that more often and want to like, and then I heard that sermon, like you take care of God's people before you then God will take care of you and your people, And so I don't know if I'm like trying to do too much, like every single time, like have that experience or like be that person in the grocery store, or like,
no,
if I actually miss it, I don't know.
I think it's undeniable when it's God,
So then
and I
it's
think
just
that's, well, no, I'm just saying it's not just you don't have to, have the pressure of, okay, everywhere I go, I gotta change the world every single way. I think it's just having your ears open, and just, having all this, your heart's in the right place, you know. So when it is time, you'll be ready. I think, and you'll absolutely know, like that's God.
And then I also hear people like have scenarios where they'll say no, or like they get offended, and like I don't know. I guess maybe that's another like part of me that's like,
well, and if that's the case, then that's out of your control. You know, you can only control what you can control. It's funny, on Sadie's podcast recently, she was talking about that, how, I don't know, anytime she goes to the grocery store or something, she'll like just give the people like,
cash back.
Yeah, she'll ask for cash back and give it to them, and she's had people be like, absolutely not, and she's like, all right, and she'll just find someone else to give it to, or something. Or, sometimes you say, well, okay, maybe there was a lesson in that one. Maybe you need to learn rejection or something. But, I don't know, I think it's just always having that open heart to and willingness to serve, and always, just be open to opportunities. You don't necessarily have to, sorry, I'm video. How did that happen?
Oh, gosh.
Here we go.
There we go.
I'm controlling from my watch. This is how much we need help.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I think it's perfect. So,
anywho,
good stuff.
I think just having a willing heart to serve, and just having your ears open, and when it's time, you'll be ready.
I'm glad you just said that. You said willing heart to serve. Like, I do have that willing heart, but something that I realized that I need to start doing this year is I really don't give back. Like, okay, wait, let me take that back. I give back. I don't give back with my time. So like I want to do something like whether it's once a quarter, once a month or something where I can like go to a food bank or go like feed the homeless or do this or do that, you know, because like I feel like there's opportunity in that.
You know, we have a food bank at our church every month.
Once
a month.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There we go. Answered. It's answered. So like, you actually like feed people?
No, they just come through the line and
and get the boxes and stuff.
and you just fellowship with them as they come.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I need to start doing that.
I just think I feel like what you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself.
Oh yeah.
And I say this very much. It ain't about you.
That's yeah.
But it's so easy. Like even with like the podcast to get, it's like to be, well, I want these followers and I want this to help everybody. God's gonna put it in front of who needs it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, He's gonna put you in front of who needs you.
Right.
He's gonna make the opportunity. We just can't get so. I want to be doing all that. I want.
It's the control.
Mm-hmm.
It's the control.
Girl, I'm the same way.
It's the control.
I'm the same way.
Goodness gracious, that's crazy.
It ain't about you.
And that's crazy that you say that because like in other scenarios and situations when I'm talking to like family or friends or something, like I can easily say, you know, like it's not about you. You know, you got to think about so and so, or you got to think about, you know, you're looking at it in a worldly realm, or looking at it in the spiritual realm, you know, and then it's like. Here I am, like, I'm the hardest person on myself.
I literally had that, like, I'm not sitting here, like, saying, it ain't about you, because it ain't about me.
Yeah.
Okay? But literally on the way over here, I was thinking how I have always been my own toughest critic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, always, my entire life.
It's insane.
Yeah. And it's a blessing and a curse.
Oh, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but, yeah, you gotta let go of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, the same thing, just... Like,
and that's like
we were talking about kind of how like, you know, men have more of a tendency to not openly be like hands off the wheel, like Jesus, you know, take the wheel. They have, I don't know, just like they want to do it all themselves. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of the same way, but it's at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get through it all yourself, and you have to lean on.
It's only going to cause more anxiety and stress. Can't lean on your own understanding.
Nope.
Because it'll fill you every time.
Yep, and never gonna be enough.
We got business cards.
Y'all, we are so legit.
How cool is that? If you're looking at the YouTube, you'll be able to see the business cards. I'm so excited for that.
So we have those. We made a link tree, which we'll link below. That has literally all of our links to all the things, so it'll be easy for you guys to find everything. What else?
Don't forget, y'all can email in at bethelightpod@gmail.com. Any questions, concerns, issues, comments, anything like that. We love to hear back from you. And of course, we'll bring it up on the podcast anonymously if you want us to talk about it and kind of see how we would handle the situation, or if we even can relate to the situation, which 9 times out of 10 we can. If not, we can. Somebody we know can, and we can always come together that way. So.
Small business shout out of the week.
Brewers Welding.
Woo! Marissa's man has a freaking load of talent nobody knew about. Or I didn't even.
I mean, I knew he was talented, but he just blows me away. Okay, so y'all check that out.
Tag all that stuff. It's like what, custom furniture, pretty much?
Yeah, welded furniture. And repairs, welded repairs too.
Freaking bench, a shelf. A table.
Yeah, accent table, coffee table.
It's truly impressive.
So
check it out.
Yeah.
So do you want to share is there anything you've been reading you want to share?
I just pretty much put them all in my notes, really. I've just been listening to podcasts and dabbing and stuff like that. What about you?
Well, there's a song on the radio right now that I've just been loving. It's Micah Tyler, and it's called I See Grace, or I Saw Grace, or something like that. And there's this one part where it like just gets really hype, and he's like, okay.
Are you gonna sing?
If I do start to sing, like it's not American Idol. He's like, and that devil says, I don't deserve what you did on the cross, and he's right, but you did it anyway. And I love that.
Nice.
Like, yeah, I don't deserve it, but he did it anyway, so screw you, devil.
Yep.
You ain't getting me.
Amen, sister. That's
See you next time.
Bye,
Love
y'all.
ya. Bye. Thank you for listening to Be the Light podcast. Be sure to find us on Facebook and Instagram. Email us at bethelightpod@gmail.com. Subscribe on YouTube. Turn on your notifications. Like, share, comment, all the things. You can find all of our links in our link tree in the description below. We love ya.
Bye.